Minimalism. Symbolism of the representation of how corporates ruin the beautiful game every single day. On March 30th, Inter Milan revealed their new logo, which removed the FC from Giorgiano Mugiani's original design. They also changed up the shading of the blue and also removed the gold. In a statement regarding the reveal, Inter said, "The aim is to make the Inter brand relevant and recognizable beyond its fan base, and to allow a younger and international audience to identify with the values of inclusion, style, and innovation that have characterized Inter since its foundation." I'm not gonna lie, I like the whole I'm Inter campaign. It allows the fans to identify with the new club badge, because if they didn't have that, well, there would be no identity whatsoever. Minimalism strikes again as it continues to ruin the beautiful club badges that we've seen in past decades. And today we're gonna dive deeper into the heads of the corporates themselves to understand why exactly they make these dumb decisions to minimalize these club badges. And so before we go into all of that, we have to know the intent of why exactly a company would go into minimalism. Global expansion. The intent is through recognizability, identity, and fashion that the global expansion will run wild. But I hate to break it to you, corporates, because football clubs are a little bit different. The simpler the logo, the more recognizable it is around the globe. But we're talking about a club that is over 100 years old, that has had the same relatively simple badge to begin with. You have to understand that this simple design here has been around since 1908. So this recognizability aim is actually quite counterproductive, because this well-known club logo has been around for however long. Everyone recognizes it as that Inter Milan logo and all the prestige that goes with it. And you just completely ditch all of that history for this. And let's look at another revamp that's happened recently. The Spanish Federation. You remember that beautiful Miro logo that the Spanish Federation had? When I look at this new Spanish Federation logo, it just makes me think of a 9-to-5 job in a cubicle. And here's the best part about all of this. It took a year and a half to develop. A year and a half to develop this. This! I could have done this in 5 fucking minutes! Minimalism strikes again and destroys any identity of the Spanish Federation. And speaking of identity, that's the next segment. What I don't understand with these minimalist movements is that with the club changing up a little bit, that's fine. With the club completely revamping its logo and ditching all of its identity from the past makes absolutely no sense to me. There are ways to go towards a modernized version of a logo where there's actually like a soul. Remember the old Juventus logo? It was like, it's not like my favorite logo, but at least had some symbolism to it, and you could very much visually see it. With Juventus, it's like you have to look at it for 5 minutes and solve a damn puzzle. Because I don't know if you knew, but the entire shape of the club itself is shaped like a Scudetto. It's a brilliant way of using the empty space nonetheless, but still, no one's gonna know that until someone tells you that. It's a perfect example of how to ruin your club identity. A quote said by Manfredi Riccia, who was behind this revamp here. He said, "We needed to look at the great fast-growing global brands that are able to synthesize and personify an attitude. We needed to look at the Nikes and the Adidas of this world, at the Chanels and the Louis Vuittons, and the Guccis. Those are the brands that stand for a clear feeling and attitude and emotion." Another grand example of minimalism, ruining the identity of a club. FC Nantes, a historic club with an iconic badge that has won 8 Ligue 1 titles. Although they had all that history, minimalism. Now, I don't want to say that all minimalism is bad, because there are examples of it being good. For example, the Premier League logo revamp. They were aiming to stray away from their sponsors and just a sponsor in general and wanted to be their own identity, so it makes sense what they did. What I don't particularly like is this one supportive take on the logo. This is an actual quote. "The shape of the lion's head alludes to the shape of a football, removing the need to integrate the extra element into the design. Modern viewers accustomed to the world of emojis may identify with the simplified lion more than the 2013 illustration." Ah, yes. Emojis. There is a massive misconception when it comes to becoming a fashion club. Everyone wants to be the next PSG when it comes to the brand that they've created for themselves outside the footballing world. So was the changing of PSG's logo the deciding factor of them becoming a fashion club? No, PSG literally have an exclusive deal with Jordan. To collaborate with Jordan is to expand across the Atlantic to the United States where there's another market. And it was done extremely successfully. And also no, because they have attractive signings. PSG have signed Mbappe and more importantly, Neymar. Neymar, the most well-known footballer besides Messi and Ronaldo outside of the footballing world. According to Forbes, over the past decade, PSG increased their value by 992%. Sure, you can very much connect that with the oil money that they made, but they also created a model where they wanted to not be dependent on said oil money because, I mean, have you looked at Malaga? And with the idea of just putting a sleek logo on a shirt, is not really gonna do it all. It is the PSG Jordan collections that they make every single year that look so good. I am no expert in the fashion business, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's more to just a logo when it comes to fashion. There has to be sleek designs, there has to be something unique, there has to be something that screams a culture. Let me tell you about two different types of logos. There's the descriptive and the non-descriptive. Descriptive logos have textual or visual design elements that clearly communicate the type of product or service a brand is marketing. This is where most football badges fall under. Descriptive logos are to make brands more authentic, and they create an identity based off of the club's history using symbolism and text. Non-descriptive logos are the opposite. They're not indicative of the type of product or service a brand is selling. This is what Juventus and Inter currently fall under. And just so you don't have to look at those ugly designs again, here's a better version of a non-descriptive logo, the Denver Nuggets secondary logo. You have the skyline of Denver, which Denver. Then you have the Rocky Mountains, which is a huge staple that really just represents the entirety of Colorado. And then finally, it's the basketball because, well, they play basketball. And there was also a study actually on how effective descriptive and non-descriptive logos were. Over 400 different business to consumer brands were involved in a study. Data collected were net sales, advertising, R&D spending, and total assets. Each logo was determined to either be a descriptive logo or a non-descriptive logo. And the results showed for themselves that the descriptive logos had more positive impact on sales than the non-descriptive logo. A study just destroyed every single argument you corporates have made. But what do you think about this? Should clubs stick to tradition and history, or should they revamp everything in order to become a global brand that they aim to be? Let me know in the comments. Of course, it's a very different video from all my FIFA content because, like I said before, slowly transitioning. So hopefully if you're sticking around for this stuff or giving it a chance, I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow my Twitter, my Twitch, and my Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next video.